If you ask almost anyone if they find space interesting, you'll almost always get a yes in return. The vast, unexplored expanse before us, beautiful yet mysterious. So much of our media is filled with stories of space travel, tales of the final frontier and a galaxy far, far away. However, stories relating to space that are grounded in reality are surprisingly rare. And along here comes A1 Pictures' 2012 to 2014 adaptation of the manga that began in late 2008, Space Brothers. Space Brothers recounts the story of the two siblings Muta and Hibito Nanba. Long ago as children, they made a promise. They would become astronauts and stand on the moon together. But Muta has forgotten his goals, while his younger brother Hibito is already fulfilling them. This story follows Muta's journey to finally grab hold of his dream, and all the struggles he and his younger brother overcome. Set in the near future of 2025, it presents new inventions and improvements on the current systems. I won't lie, I have a pretty small knowledge of the space program and the technology behind it. Yet just as a person living today, the technology displayed feels exactly like something that would come out of the near future, some of which is even technology we're already exploring in present day. One might think that with 99 episodes of content, it would get boring pretty quickly. While it's certainly a journey to finish, boring isn't a word I'd use in describing Space Brothers. It covers such a long period of time that each episode feels brisk, and because the show's split into arcs with a few intermediary episodes between, it's quite easy to binge, take a break, and return to the show again, thanks to the uncomplicated way it's presented. One issue is that sometimes I'd get a little stuck when the preceding arc was far better than the current one, or at least the establishing episodes of the current arc, and there would sometimes be a lack of needed tension to keep you engaged. The characters really are what keep you watching episode after episode. Each character is distinctly unique, from their personality to their voice to their character design. Some of them are introduced and seem to be off-putting or unlikable, yet as the show progresses, more of their personality and backstory is revealed, and you can come to see that they're a lot more than they seem at face value. The way each character is implemented into the story is fantastic, with each person bearing important value to and being connected to the others in the show. Everyone feels relevant, and through each character we learn things about others. It is true that some characters could come off as irritating, gimmicky, or perhaps even a bit pointless. But ultimately, out of the incredibly massive cast, I find that the majority were really well characterized. Muta and Hibito, along with the many people around them who facilitated their growth, are a major factor in one's enjoyment of the show. Our main character, Muta, and his story is a very relatable and inspiring one. He pursues his dream after letting the harshness of reality push him away, and takes the steps towards it with hard work, support of his friends, and even a little bit of luck. His personality is a balance between awkward yet hidden wiseness. Muta's foolish yet simultaneously brilliant. A person whose goal seems accomplishable, yet not without some effort put in, creating a character that you really want to succeed. The animation, however, at best is describable as eh. It's not exactly Dean levels of embarrassingly terrible, yet for a lot of the time, I'd describe it as below average. much. The animation of the characters feels stiff, and often the animation itself is inconsistent, leading to some Dean-like expressions and movements. Even excluding that, a lot of scenes feel almost purposely framed to avoid showing movement, with lots of close to the face, standing still, and undetailed faraway shots, including the use of some out-of-place panning still shots. There is a lot of CG used throughout for the massive machines, planes, etc., but that's surprisingly not the largest negative. The CG, while by no means impressive nor perfect, accomplishes its goal without feeling too out of place, and the rocket launch sequences actually felt rather natural. Truthfully though, this may just be due to what it's got as competition. Nothing about the animation overall is particularly remarkable nor offensive. It's there, it's flawed, and you kind of just get used to it, which is aided by the fact that the show is not one that is reliant on visuals. That's not to say that it doesn't have its moments though. Particularly during an arc relating to Hibito's lunar exploration, the animation quality spikes up pretty greatly to meet the increased drama and stakes in stride, much like Silver Spoon, but these are just special occasions in the show. That is the animation, but what about the general aesthetic? While the character designs are memorable and fun, each one standing out in its cartoony way, and are unique and diverse as well as indicative of their main character trait, the background art is also well utilized. During your average episode, it doesn't stand out much, but as soon as the scene hits the sky and beyond, it stands out in a brilliant way. For a series promoting space, it certainly does its job and fantastically illustrates its beauty. Space Brothers OST is a very orchestral one, heavily relying on particular themes for each various mood throughout the series. It's very similar to Chihaya Furu's soundtrack, though not quite as memorable. Each song does a good job of expressing emotion with a fantastic sense of scale throughout, and the songs come off as sincere. The primary flaw with the soundtrack is simply that it does a lot of things similar to soundtracks before it. The repeatedly scaling strings, the steadily booming brass, the slow note-by-note emotional piano. All of these are very familiar to us, and even if the songs themselves are well made, this still causes it not to stand out much in one's memory. Those songs sound exactly like the ones I've heard in every other heartwarming against all odds flick. Except for a select few songs that, listening back, strongly evoke the emotion of the scene it accompanied. It's not an OST I'd go out of my way to listen to, as a lot of the pieces have that typical background music style of repetitiveness. I mean, the soundtrack itself certainly does its job. It well suits the scenes it accompanies, but fails to really go that extra mile in creating a truly memorable and powerful experience. Space Brothers is a series that comes off as both compelling and sincere. The story and characters feel unique yet familiar, and for those 99 episodes, it's a wonderful friend you can always rely on when you're feeling down. It's silly, it's serious, it's dramatic, it's inspiring, and overall, it's just incredibly uplifting. It takes its time, and everything about it is definitely a matter of taste, whether or not it will be to your liking. Despite occasional tonal changes and various surprising events to keep things interesting, it's very much so the same show from start to finish. With that said, I urge everyone to give it a chance, even if you don't typically care for this style of show. Simply put, it's incredibly enjoyable to watch. Through its diverse, fun cast and interesting story, it is a show that, despite its length, once you've finished it, feels like you were just getting started.
答えはいつも私 私の胸になんでだろうあなたを選んだ私です